Now, for the Q1 of 2022, you already know that NIO delivered over 25,700 vehicles, which is something that, of course, made us as the retail investors to really be excited about this NIO stock. I mean, this is a stock that, of course, we discuss a lot on this channel, and me having to see that NIO once again reported quarterly record-breaking deliveries, it was something that, of course, obviously with that makes me to sort of like kind of like project that even for the upcoming Q1 earnings which are coming this Thursday, NIO will easily beat the revenues that they reported in the Q4 of 2021. Now, before we get to this or to my prediction in terms of the upcoming earnings of NIO, please, you already know that this video is just an entertainment video and you should not take it as a professional financial advice video. Now, I really appreciate if you can just hit that like button if you do enjoy the content that I will be giving you about this NIO stock. Now, as I've said, NIO is one of the stocks that we talk a lot about on this channel, and one of the main events that this week so many of the NIO investors will be looking at is the upcoming Q1 of 2022 earnings results, which are coming this week, Thursday, before market open. So this is not an event that only us, the retail investors, will be patiently waiting for, but it is also an event where big financial institutions will also be looking forward to, because this is one of the most important events as it shows us where NIO is going financially, which is one of the things that, of course, if you are investing into this stock, it's one of the main important events that you need to track if you're a NIO investor. So, like I said, I personally believe that NIO is going to beat both the analyst expectations on the EPS and the total revenue they generate, because as seen on the screen, you'll notice that analysts expect or are expecting NIO to deliver total revenues of around 9.8 billion RMB or Chinese yuan, which getting to see that last quarter NIO's total revenues were around 9.9 billion RMB or Chinese yuan. It is one of the things that easily makes me want to say that NIO, it is going to beat early expectations, because like I said, if you have to just be practical, the fact that NIO or the quarter or Q1 of 2022 quarter, they managed to beat the deliveries that they had reported in the Q4 on the Q4 of 2021, it is one of the main things that makes me want to believe that NIO is going to easily beat analyst expectation on the kind of revenues they generate. Now, as for the EPS, you'll notice that analysts are expecting NIO to report an EPS of around negative 1.06 yen, which again, I personally believe that though this one it's sort of like quite difficult to predict, looking at the fact that you don't know or you would not easily know the kind of expenses that NIO encountered for the quarter. I would personally like to put it and not maybe try to guess as to where are we going to see or what kind of an EPS is NIO going to report. But for the total revenues, one thing for sure, I already know that NIO is going to deliver over what analysts expect in terms of total revenues. But one of the most important things that I personally would be tracking on those earnings is, of course, their Q2 delivery guidance. As you already know that NIO, on their earnings, they always give us their guidance as to what is it that they expect to deliver on their next earnings. It is one of the things that, like I said, I'll be closely monitoring that. I personally believe that as the restrictions in one of the main cities in Shanghai, which is a destination where NIO, it is leading or it is having the #1 market in terms of the electric SUV vehicles there. It is one of the main things that getting to know that China have lifted off the COVID lockdown there. It is one of the things that really makes me to be optimistic going to their June deliveries. I personally believe that in June NIO will deliver over 11,000 deliveries, which will be a record-breaking kind of a delivery, which is something that, of course, makes me to really want to look forward to their delivery guide for the Q2 of 2022. So that's one of the main things that I'll be closely monitoring on their Q1 of 2022 earnings results. But one thing that I would also really like to see is the updates on their Jack NIO factory, because you remember that NIO late last year they came out to us and said that they are increasing their production capacity in Jack Neo to around 300,000 with a double shift, which is one of the things that I would really like to see, because what they said is that they believe that they are going to get to this kind of production capacity of 300,000 with double shift by the end of the first half of 2022, which is something that I really want to see if whether they've achieved that. Are we now getting, or are we able to produce 300,000 with double shifts from their Jack Neo factory? This is one of the things that, of course, if they can clear it out for me, I'll really be excited, and of course hopeful that if they do, they came out and say that they have managed to complete the second phase upgrades in the Jack Neo factory and their production capacity is 300,000 with double shift. So these are some of the things that I'll be closely monitoring on the earnings. But like I said, on the total revenues, Neo, I personally believe that they are going to easily beat analyst expectations, and I believe that they are going to report total revenues of over 10 billion RMB or 10 billion yen, which is one of the main things that makes me to really look forward to those earnings. And of course, with the guidance, I personally believe that Neo are going to give us some good guidance, though we already know that we can't expect the guidance to be that much, looking at the fact that the COVID lockdown in China made or had a huge impact into the EV stocks like Neo. It brought a lot of supply chain constraints, which of course made companies like Neo to end up suspending their production for some time, and they ended up, of course, resuming production. It was not by much. So with that in mind, I don't expect it to be that much, or even to surpass the kind of deliveries they reported in the Q1. We might get to see Neo coming out and giving us the guidance, which probably might be lower than the guidance or the kind of deliveries they delivered for their Q1 of 2022, which is something that should be very understandable, looking at the fact that, yeah, the supply chain constraints really hurt this EV producer Neo. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I should just give you this quick video about as to what is it that I expect from the upcoming Q1 earnings results that Neo will be giving us this coming week, Thursday, before the New York market open, which is something that I'm patiently looking forward to. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I personally believe that if there are those that probably want to load on this stock, maybe now it's a good opportunity, or today until Wednesday it will be a good period to do that, because I personally believe that probably, though I know that every earnings that Neo reports we get to see the stock crashing, I have that kind of a hope that right now we might see Neo's share price recovering based on the earnings which they will report on Thursday. Otherwise, before you load the boat, please also do make sure that you do your own due diligence, so that at least you can be comfortable when you are investing into this stock. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.